When lilacs last in the dooryard bloomed, and the great star early drooped in the western sky in the night, I mourned, and yet shall mourn with ever-returning spring. Ever-returning spring, Trinity sure to me you bring. Lilac, blooming perennial, and drooping star in the west, and thought of him I love. When lilacs last in the dooryard bloomed, by Walt Whitman. Abraham Lincoln died April 15th, 1865, and Walt Whitman wrote this poem for him. I like to read this in April. I wish we had lilacs here, but we don't. Lilacs are hardy and relentless. Lilacs live long after their people, blossoming with wild abandon year after year, even when the entire house and the barn have long since weathered into heaps of ancient boards. There's really nothing like a lilac bush, exploding in the most beautiful aroma. Man, I love this blue and green planet. Welcome to Monday Morning Book Buzz. I'm Heather from the Bay County Public Library. I'm here today at Oaks by the Bay in our own little garden, right here in St. Andrews. Poetry Month, Earth Month, and Climate Reads Day. I have never found a more perfect book to match the day. Castaway, Poems of Our Time by Naomi Shihab Nye. Just published in February of this year. Nye, who is the National Young People's Poet Laureate, thinks a lot about climate change. As a poet, she wrestles with the concept of hope. Her fundamental message, her driving force, is hope, especially as hope exists now, uncomfortably nestled within the context of apocalyptic experience. She lives in San Antonio and was interviewed by a reporter from the Washington Post recently during the Texas ice storms, where she was desperately trying to keep a family of doves alive in her backyard. The reporter asked her how to find hope under these circumstances. Nye said, "You really have to consider what you can do. I can feed the birds, for example." And that is where this collection of poems comes into the conversation. Nye says, "I may not be able to save the world, but I can pick up the trash." Castaway is a tapestry of what we throw away, what we retrieve, and what we become in the process, which is really the entirety of our lives, acquiring and discarding bits and pieces of what we find meaningful on this earth. A preacher asked, "Can you imagine having to push every single thing you own, everywhere you go, on wheels? Try putting all your troubles in a grocery cart and taking them with you every day." That is what homelessness means, troubles and treasures all in one art. A weary woman had appeared at his front door with her mounded burdens, asking if she could part for a while. Camps of refugees exist all over the world, where one clean space to sleep, away from filth and stents, might feel like a miracle. This is a wonderful poetry collection. As always, Nye presents us with poems that work for everyone, from devoted poetry readers to the die-hard anti-poetry club. Trees are ferocious. They might be planning things. How can we ever again sit calmly in the shade? Castaway by Naomi Shihab Nye. And now this little gem. This was a gift from the Bay County Audubon Society, and I've been saving this for a perfect day. The Home Place, Memoirs of a Colored Man's Love Affair with Nature by J. Drew Lanham, published in 2016. Drew Lanham is a man in love with nature. A professor, a birder, a hunter, and a very good writer. When it comes to climate change and how to get all of us humans together to stand up for the planet we live on by the sheer and boundless grace of being, Drew Lanham will tell you it never hurts to get in touch with nature. Get outside and connect with the wild world. You don't have to go anywhere. Nature's right outside your door. Just step out and take a look. Lanham, like me, finds everything about nature endlessly fascinating. Birds in the air, dirt under your feet, and bears on the loose might be all you need to feel this life is simply fantastic, and this planet is well worth our care. Lanham does not shy away from the hard truths. Climate change is devastating, especially for people of color, with indigenous peoples literally losing ground daily. And climate-related health issues like asthma, in addition to climate disasters, affect Black communities disproportionately. He says in The Home Place, "My hope is that somehow I might move others to find themselves magnified in nature." Maybe you have to put your hands in the soil to appreciate what it means to be human. It's quite a lovely book. The Home Place by J. Drew Lanham. This is the last Monday in National Poetry Month, so I just have to toss in one more book of poems. Margaret Atwood has long been a deeply respected writer, and now she's wildly popular since The Handmaid's Tale went viral on television. She also happens to be an amazing writer, in the full literary sense of the word, and here is a book of poems she published last year. Dearly. New poems by Margaret Atwood. Don't worry, I'm not going to explain anything. I'm just going to read a poem. Blackberries. In the early morning, an old woman is picking blackberries in the shade. It will be too hot later, but right now there's dew. Some berries fall. Those are for squirrels. Some are unripe, reserved for bears. Some go into the metal bowl. Those are for you, so you may taste them just for a moment. That's good times. One little sweetness after another, then quickly gone. Once, this old woman I'm conjuring up for you would have been my grandmother. Today it's me. Years from now, it might be you. If you're quite lucky. The hands reaching in among the leaves and spines were once my mother's. I've passed them on. Decades ahead, you'll study your own temporary hands, and you'll remember. Don't cry when this happens. Look, the steel bowl is almost full, enough for all of us. The blackberries gleam like the glass ornaments we hang on our trees in December, to remind ourselves to be grateful for snow. Some berries occur in sun, but they are smaller. It's as I'd always told you, the best ones grow in shadows. Please wear your mask when you're inside, but take a break and step outside and enjoy this amazing day. I'm Heather from the library. Happy reading!